Kate taking part in several events, the official welcome by horse guards, a carriage procession, a private lunch, and the viewing of the priceless Qatari artifacts from the royal collection. She will, however, be missing the evening's state banquet. It does mark her first state visit since announcing that she had cancer. In the months since, the Princess of Wales gradually has been returning to royal duties after completing cancer treatment. Back in January, she was admitted to the hospital undergoing a successful surgery. It wouldn't be until 2 months later, though, that she publicly shared her cancer diagnosis. Nearly 6 more months would go by before Kate came out and said her treatment is complete. Henry Bonsu is with us now, British broadcaster with Times Radio. Henry, welcome as always. It's nice to see you. This is wonderful news. So many people have been excited to see the princess back in action and doing well. What do we know about her health right now as she gets back to royal duties?
Well, she did say in a video that she released in September that her chemotherapy was over, but her cancer journey was not over. She's having some very good days and positive days, but also bad days, more difficult days as well. But she's relatively fit and strong. She likes sport, as we've seen in the rowing competitions she's had with Prince William in the past, and the fact she always attends Wimbledon every year. So 42 years old, in robust health, mother of 3, and this is a slow but sure easing back into the royal schedule. Previously, the royal calendar would dictate, but now her health will dictate what she does, and that's the message going forward.
Right, just easy does it, getting out a little bit, kind of dipping your toes into some of the responsibilities. I'm reading some things about her son, the young Prince George, and his future. Is that causing her stress as well? Is there anything to some of the tabloid reporting on this?
I don't think so. Look, I mean, of course, they have sources and people will leak individual things to them. But that happened to the king when he was Prince Charles as well, when he went up to Gordonston many years ago, some 65 or so years ago. There's always speculation about this and what the future trajectory of a royal prince, especially the firstborn, who's first in line to the throne, might be. But they're a millennial modern couple, William and Kate, and they will make the decision in the best interest of their son.
How about the king? He has battled his own health issues over the last year, but he's also remained very busy with his royal duties. How is he doing?
Oh, he's doing very, very well. And not only is he there taking pride of place, inspecting the guard with the Amir of Qatar earlier today at Horse Guards Parade. And of course, he will lead the event tonight at the state banquet. Let's remember, something like £40 billion of Qatari investments have been made into the UK, and that's an annual trade between British and Qatari companies of £6 billion. But the king has been ubiquitous. He's been very, very busy. He was there down under in Australia and New Zealand recently. And of course, he's been at the King's Royal Variety Performance. There are several things. He's pretty much back to a full program of events, and people are delighted to see him. I mean, he's 76 years old. Only his birthday was over a week ago. And if you consider the age of his parents when they passed away, the Queen was 96, and his father, the Duke of Edinburgh, was 99, and his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, was 101. So he's got very strong genes.
Yeah, longevity runs in the family. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, always worth mentioning when you talk about the royal family, although anything notable happening with them right now?
Well, I mean, they've been busy. I think they're spending most of their time in the States at the moment, although recently they were in Colombia. The main thing that people are saying here about Meghan Markle is how difficult she's finding it. So launching her company, she's got a lifestyle company, a bit like Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop company. You'll be aware of that. Mm-hmm. And they're saying it isn't going well yet. She hasn't been able to launch it, and they're trying to find any way possible of increasing any gossip about difficulties in their relationship. You know, Harry and Meghan. Ooh, Harry's on his own again. He came over to the UK on his own again. But I don't hear any serious speculation about their relationship being in danger. She wants to launch her lifestyle brand. He's still keen to demonstrate he has something to say about mental health, about wounded warriors, and that is what they want to do. All the speculation about them coming back to the UK having difficulties in the States because of Donald Trump's return. That's just speculation for the moment.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.